Get ready to explore how diversity is reshaping the geospatial field. In this episode of Geographical Thinking, we're sitting down with Dr. Julia Wagemann from Women in Geospatial. Together, we'll uncover how this growing network is challenging stereotypes, building inclusive spaces, and inspiring future leaders in the industry. Julia has been a key player in driving these changes, and we're excited to explore how Women in Geospatial is paving the way for a more inclusive future in the field. Welcome back to Geographical Thinking. I'm Michelle Brake, and I'll be your guide as we explore ideas, stories, and conversations through the lens of geography. Joining me today is Dr. Julia Wagemann, an Earth observation data and technology specialist, educator, and community builder with more than 10 years of experience in the Earth observation and geospatial industry. Her work is in the interface between data providers and users, helping users better use data from satellites and weather models. She's a co-founder of Thrive Geo, a training and consulting company centered around Earth observation data and technologies. She has also worked as an independent consultant with the European Centre for Medium Range Weather Forecast and the European Space Agency. In 2019, she initiated Women in Geospatial, a global professional network of more than 5,500 women and non-binary people in the geospatial industry and academia. As director and member of the board since 2021, she has actively been transforming the network from a grassroots activity into a multi-award winning organization. Thank you for joining me today, Julia, and welcome to Geographical Thinking.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. Looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, and how are things this time of year? I know between academia and geospatial, things seem to always pick up and be a lot busier in the fall. Are you seeing that on your side?
Oh, yes, like fall is just after summer, it takes a while to pick up, but then especially October, November, while we try to get ready for Christmas, it's really busy. I guess it's the same also on your side.
It is. I find a lot of that back to school, back to, okay, we're out of summer mode, no more vacations. Let's go on through the end of the year. So I understand things get a little bit busy, but I'm happy to see that we're able to meet. And I'm wondering, for those that are not familiar, what is Women in Geospatial and how did the group come to be?
Yeah, Women Plus in Geospatial is a professional community for women and non-binary people who work in the geospatial industry and academia. So everyone who identifies as a woman and everyone who thinks their work touches anything related to geospatial is welcome to join our community. We started in 2019 as a grassroots activity. So in the end, we started on Twitter asking if there are women out there who would like to form a group where we can exchange, share advice, resources, and just have a safe space to get to know each other. And then in 2019, within 3 days, we had like more than 300 women indicating their interest. And
Wow.
then we took it from there. So since then, we set up at that time, Slack was still a tool for community building. So we set up a Slack as a community platform and also a mailing list. And grew into a organization with more than 5,500 members coming from 149 countries in the last 5 years. What we do is our guiding principle is that we want to forge a geospatial community where all genders can thrive. And we do this by inspiring, uniting, and empowering every woman and non-binary person in the field. What we mean by that is that the last 5 years, we focused a lot on a bottom-up approach. So we focused a lot on community building and strengthening, bringing a lot of members together, sharing resources. So community is one of our core activities where we have spaces on anything we can actually think of what members want to exchange on. So on technical guidance, so if someone has questions on geospatial data, where to find one or how to process them, so more on the technical realm, but then also more on the career development and guidance realm. So if someone is in a situation on salary negotiation or asking for promotion, then there's also space where we can ask, okay, how would you approach it? How would others approach it? And then we share our advice. So community building, then we also run events on career guidance and career development. So we often collaborate with experts, sharing expert advice, anything related on career development. So this can mean, for example, how to write a killer CV. We had one event at some stage, or how to prepare for a good speech, or how to do public speaking. We also collaborate with a professional coach in the geospatial scene or industry, and he also came in and give more from a coaching perspective, career guidance. So there's really different topics we touch with our events, and our flagship activity is certainly our mentorship program, which is a year-long program where every member can apply, and then they get either matched with in a mentor-mentee relationship or with a peer mentorship group. And all the groups that are matched, they work together on objectives they set themselves over the year, and then they have regular check-ins and also see how they progress. But basically, it's about developing professionally and personally together, guided in a strategic goal setting way.
That's a lot for one group to cover. And I know within like career building and looking at a larger community of women and non-binary folks in geospatial, how all of those are needed. They're necessary. We need those places to connect, but it's a lot to manage. Thinking about how the organization has grown over time, and you've mentioned in the bio that there's a group of people helping lead this. I'm glad to hear that we have such a strong organization or community for people to reach out to, as well as strong leadership within this. Yeah, congratulations on all that growth.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, how has Women in Geospatial worked to break down stereotypes about who belongs in the geospatial field? And are there any specific initiatives aimed at shifting this narrative? I feel like we may have touched briefly on some hints of that, but I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. So as I said, like we focused the last 5 years really on a strong bottom-up approach. What we mean with that is we focused a lot on inside building our community and building and building up the confidence of our members and giving them the resources and access to resources and opportunities which probably they wouldn't otherwise have. And this is what we believe is one of the core items that is also needed to shift the narratives we have at the moment, so that we all together build up our narrative that we can reach for goals we want to reach, and whatever this means. So this like success also means something different for each of us, but important is that we all have the confidence that we say, yes, we belong here, we chose this industry, and we have the right to go wherever we want to. So that's where we say, well, bringing together 5,500 women from 149 countries. So we already shape it in a way that we see it's not only one perspective, because we often all are biased from our perspective from where we were born and the cultural background we were raised. But also seeing that there is geospatial is really combines us all and connects us all from around the world, and there's different perspectives from different cultural backgrounds and countries and world regions. And and then so this is our focus, or has been our focus the past 5 years. But now, because we see now we have the momentum, and we also see there's more impact and we have more reach also on social media, we also would like, or we want, or we partner now also with organizations who share the same values as we do, in order to change the narrative more on a higher level, more broader level for the industry. But saying that is like shaping or changing a narrative. It's not a sprint, so you can't do this within a year or two. It's really with all our activities and initiatives we do with our network and community, is we are in there for a long run, and we really do a marathon with seeing it through, that we give opportunities and opportunities for everyone thriving in the industry we all enjoy being in.
No, and it sounds like a big focus of the organization and the initiatives is equity, about bringing everyone up to a same working space. And I think that the difference between like looking at equality versus equity, I think, is really important. And it sounds like by taking that more global approach, you're better able to adjust things. I know, having like gone through the Slack channels and things for women in geospatial, that there's very different approaches for different regions of like, how are things working, what are our resources. So it's great to see that there is a more nuanced take, and it's not here's one global approach, because we understand that we work in geospatial, place matters. But it's great to see that there is those nuanced moments of understanding woven into the initiatives. And I'm wondering, as Women Plus in Geospatial has grown, how do you maintain that momentum and engagement, ensuring that the network's mission continues to resonate with new members?
Yeah, so I think with all of, or as a grassroots initiative, so everyone who started a grassroots activity probably know what I'm talking about, is like we went through different phases and cycles, obviously. So in the last 5 years, like I would say when we started, it was really like-minded women and non-binary people came together. We were very open for almost any proposal and suggestions what women who joined our group wanted to see or wanted to have. And then also COVID at that time, because we started in 2019. So COVID was a big growth factor, obviously, because we all of a sudden, everyone was at home and didn't have access to the resources they probably might have had. And so our community was also a really good opportunity to connect and speak with others in the industry. But then we also realized it was around end of 2020. So we see a continued growth, and there is a continued interest in our community and in the group. But we can't maintain it as just a grassroots initiative as we started, because we had there's a bit of some expenses as well. We had a website running. We also are running entirely on volunteers. So we also needed to develop a process for what it means to volunteer with Women Plus in Geospatial. And then at the same time, we also saw that like if we want to have real impact, then we need to go the next step to have an entity, and really, because this helps us also to scale some of our activities and also reach and collaborate with organizations and partner with other initiatives. And so as we we then, from a grassroots initiative, we started to be a registered entity in the UK. And since then, we are transforming from a grassroots organization or initiative to a more established, sustainable organization. But this means a lot of work in the back end, especially because we entirely volunteer run. But one of the activities we did this year to see or to maintain the momentum and also the engagement is actually to migrate our community from Slack to a new community platform. Because we saw with Slack in the last years, they changed their pricing model. And so we couldn't access messages that were older than 3 months old. And so we really ran into problems where we saw, well, this is not as engaging as we want to have it. And so then we made an active decision to say, we really think we just started and there's a lot of potential for us. And so for this, we really need to migrate to a new community platform. And so far, we are right in the migration. So we started, and we will close the Slack channel actively mid of November. But so far, we got really positive feedback. And of course, the migration takes time a bit, and also it's a new system, so people also have to get used to it. But it's really great to see that people joining the new community, and we also have positive feedback. And at the same time, it also allowed us to rethink again how we want to be as a community. And one guiding principle there when we set up the new platform is we want to actually shape the community from the community. So we also ask community members what they want to see. So we gave them some spaces and channels we set up which we saw that were very popular on Slack. But we also we have now much better tools with the new platform to gather feedback, to engage with our members, to centralize a lot of our activities into one platform, also to see upcoming events, because before the migration, we had everything on different systems. And this is really, we have high hopes, and we already see this is changing the game for a lot of our activities and also for our community.
Yeah, and I think any organization that works within some sort of technology touch point, that being adaptive and reactive is such a large part of what we do, and especially seeing the kind of growth that the organization has, that eventually needing to make that pivot. It sounds like things are going well. I'm looking forward to checking out the new platform more. But I am wondering, in terms of kind of what steps are being taken to inspire and support future leaders within geospatial, and how do you envision that next generation of leaders contributing to a more inclusive field?
Basically, so when we in our community at the moment, we give different opportunities where our members or anyone who wants to join our community can get leadership experience. So one example, we always also say, by volunteering with Women Plus in Geospatial, they get really a great opportunity to gain leadership skills, because it is there's a lot of activities and areas that are not fully defined yet. And so when we also look for volunteers, we are actively looking for people or personalities where we also have the feeling they can assess the situation, but then they also have the proactivity and the necessary skills to also guide and lead something without guidance from us. So it's a bit more like this entrepreneurial mindset, which we look for it, and this volunteering for us to shape this entrepreneurial mindset. This is what we offer in a great way. Then in the mentorship program, I would say this is where we support a lot of transition periods. So like it's often when you're in your when you just start out in the career or in the mid-career and you look for the next step where you can get guidance in the mentorship program, just by having another person as a sounding board and setting yourself goals for professionally or personally, but then having someone you are also accountable to. It's really a game changer compared to just setting goals for yourself. What we now want to, so we give a lot of opportunities for when you're like early career or mid-career, but now we also partnered, for example, with the Tailored Geospatial Institute, and we want to also see how we can actually with collaborations and partnerships, develop more also programs and opportunities to shape new female leaders. And this means also giving back, so also creating a group of already experienced and well-known female leaders in our field, and then also enabling a conversation and a connection between possible future leaders and also already future leaders or trailblazers who already made their path in the geospatial industry, and also learning from them what worked and what strategies they learned, and so on. So this is what we do already something, but we also identified as this is one of the activities we want to focus on, and seeing what better role we can actually play in making the executive boards and senior leadership in companies more diverse, because we see there is a role for us to play.
Yeah, and I think increasing representation is so important within our field because we are such a community focused field. I find with geospatial, like it's constantly about making connections. We want to hear from each other. We want to learn from each other. So hearing that there's always more growth points, that there's more connection is wonderful. And I'm wondering, on that representation side in the geospatial field more broadly, how does the network look at addressing the intersections of gender with other identities such as race or class, ability? I know we've briefly touched on like career age, but I'm wondering, how do those things work to foster a truly inclusive environment?
Yeah, I would say from like already being a global network, and our members, we made a statistic at the beginning of this year, really coming from 149 countries. So there's not many countries left that we don't have members, where I believe this already brings in a lot of diverse perspectives. And then another guiding principle from the beginning is that our network, we want to be accessible for every woman and those who identified as a woman. And this means from the beginning, we said we don't raise any membership fees. So anyone can join us, no matter on their economic situation, on their country where they come from. And everyone has the opportunity to get the resources, and through Women Plus and Geospatial to get inspired, united, and empowered. And this is probably what we do. Obviously, our focus is gender, but by being global and by being accessible, and we don't have any membership fees, we already break down a lot of barriers to also include different diverse perspectives, and also from different economic backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the notes about intersectionality are so important because nobody is just one thing. Nobody is defined by one element of their person. So taking that more broad look makes sense. And I guess also some of the things that we've already touched on in terms of like partnerships and taking partnerships, helping to broaden the network and broaden the reach. I'm wondering what kind of partnerships has Women Plus in Geospatial formed with industry players, and how have those collaborations helped to push forward the cause of diversity in the geospatial world?
Yeah, we just started this year to actually actively also looking for partners and also speaking with potential partners, because one of our principle is also that we want to partner with organizations that share the same values. And as I said before, all our activities, we really see ourselves doing a marathon. And so in the best case, we not only enter into one-off sponsorships, but really with our partners, we see it as a partnership where we learn from each other, we grow from each other. In the best case, we get much better results by working together. So one of the partnerships we entered, and we really lucky to have them as partners, is Tailored Geospatial Institute. So Nadine Almani is one of is already a very long supporter of our network, anyways, privately. But now we're also happy to have found an opportunity to have a more formal partnership between our two organizations, Women Plus and Geospatial, and the Tailored Geospatial Institute. And so in this support or partnership is that Tailored Geospatial Institute became the premium sponsor for our new community platform. So by sponsoring our community, Tailored Geospatial Institute enables our free access to all our members globally. So this is the type of partnerships we enter. So there's like also opportunities to have a premium sponsorship for our mentorship program, which is, as I said, one of our flagship activities. And then another collaboration we are currently discussing is with a company in the geospatial industry, where we support the company with talent development and talent acquisition. And so we found an opportunity to discuss a partnership agreement where we support specifically their female staff members to progress in their career and in their job through our community activities, through participating in the mentorship program, through participating in our community and event. And at the same time, we want to see how our community can be leveraged also for posting jobs from this company, and then also finding obviously also talent from our community, because in this way we also see that we can support our members having a more direct access to potential employers, but at the same time helping also geospatial companies to have a more targeted and tailored access to talent.
Okay. And acknowledging that Women Plus in Geospatial started in 2019, we're at the 5-year mark. So this may still be early to be asking, but has the organization been involved in advocacy efforts to influence policy changes that would promote gender equity and equality within STEM fields, particularly geospatial sciences? And if not, are there connections you want to make in the future to grow in this direction?
So the short answer is no, not directly. As I said, because we really focused on building up our community and these policy changes. I would say this is definitely in going in our spirit. As we said, we're doing a marathon, and this is definitely part of our marathon in the future. But we really first also have to, because to influence policy, it's like we want to speak with a lot of stakeholders, because to influence policies, we need perspectives from different areas, and then also to really know in what could be a feasible way to influence the policy, because we also learned that like just doing us advocacy and saying, because it needs to be a practical implementable way. And for this, at the moment, this is definitely something we want to do, but at the moment we are not actively doing this yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe we talk in 5 years again, and then I can give you a more positive answer.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, I think a lot of the ways that we start to influence policies through our presence, and I think bringing more notice and helping promote different skill sets and within the community may naturally lead us there in some ways. So maybe we will talk again in 5 years and see how have things grown. But thinking to the future, I'm wondering, what are the long-term goals for Women Plus in Geospatial, and how do you plan to ensure the network's sustainability and relevance in such a rapidly changing technological landscape?
So our long-term goals are bold. So I say that we've never been in a better, more stable position than as we are now. As I said, this year we focused a lot on setting the baselines for a lot of growth. So by migrating to our new community platform, by centralizing a lot of our activities into this community platform, this enables us now to grow to let's aim for 10,000 members. And so the community aspect, I believe it will just be stronger in the next years. But then at the same time, also that by having now already partners collaborating with us, we really hope to also get more other organizations and companies that we have the opportunity to partner with, because there we see now, we can really have a much wider impact, and at the same time give our members also more opportunities and bring in our perspectives and voices into activities in the geospatial field. So this will be these are our aims. So definitely we will not go away. We will just be stronger in our community perspective. But ideally, we also will get into much more partnerships with organizations that share the same values, and we can work together on making our industry more diverse.
Mm-hmm. And I think most importantly, if people are looking for more information or want to take part in this growth, where can they go for more information?
Yeah, our website, it's womeningeospatial.org. Definitely there you see everything, what we do, our activities, and we also have our recent announcements, and definitely also the opportunities or the way how you can join our network. I would also say to be informed on whatever is happening with our network, follow us on LinkedIn or Twitter, or no, X, sorry, on X, because then you get all relevant information there as well. So we're really active there, but these are the most important two pointers, and then you can take it there. So if you want to join us, then you find a sign up form on our website. And yeah, if you want to get inspired, then obviously follow us on LinkedIn and X.
Yeah. And with that, that is a wrap on today's conversation about building a more inclusive geospatial future. A big thank you again to Dr. Julia Wagemann for sharing how Women Plus in Geospatial is making waves in the industry. Be sure to check them out if you want to get involved and connect with others in the industry. If you're looking for more information about the technical side of GIS, check out the Spatial Report podcast, where Mark and Maggie dive into the latest and greatest in the world of GIS. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thinking geographically.